Welcome to Cinemassacre's Rental Reviews. Our featured rentals are...
Alright, I hope you all enjoyed Cage Month of all the Cage matches.
Yeah,
so
Nicolas Cage is now left behind.
Yeah, left behind. So now we're going to have Febru-Carrey. Febru-Carrey. That's just perfect. So our first movie is going to be Ace Ventura. Wait,
this is
the
sequel. This is When Nature Calls.
No, good start. We got a sequel. Which I don't know. I haven't seen the sequel in a long time. But
I've never seen When Nature Calls. Actually,
really?
I've never watched it.
Oh, it super holds up.
Yeah, I need to see it.
Well, let's start at the beginning. The Ace Ventura, it's Jim Carrey's breakout role. He was in a lot of movies before this, a lot of stand-up.
Dirty Harry 5, the Deadpool.
Yeah.
He plays, he's like a rock star that dies of, overdose. But
So what I don't get about his part in that is that his music video is him lip-syncing Welcome to the Jungle in a weird Satan, hotel room.
Yeah.
He's kicking and everything. But then what's weird is later on at his funeral, Guns N' Roses are at the funeral in the scene. So it's like, why didn't they just get them?
Well,
I don't know what they were thinking with that.
Well, I need to see the Deadpool again, sounds like.
Yeah, it's really... I didn't know about it until Tony showed it to me.
I always like that it's a stage on Mortal Kombat, the Deadpool.
The Deadpool,
yeah. I think Liam Neeson was the... director of that scene.
So Ace Ventura.
Can you come down for a second? I'm looking up at you.
Because I'm taller than you.
You just got a bigger butt.
When this movie came out, I hated it. I just was like, who the hell is this annoying asshole who's just hogging the screen?
Yeah.
And everybody's quoting this movie.
Well, compared to when Austin Powers came out or when Borat came out, and everyone
very similar.
Groovy, my wife, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Austin Powers. A lot of people were doing that too. But no, this was the first time I remember a movie like that. Because it was just, did you have two Austin Powers?
Yeah, you got to have two Austin Powers. Yeah.
That's a funny movie though too. By the way.
Yeah, I love the. Maybe we ought to. What month could we do for Mike Myers month? Michael Myers month.
Mike Mayer. I don't know. We're not doing that. All right, 1 month at a time.
Well, I mean, considering this came out the same year as The Mask and fucking
wait.
Dumb and Dumber.
Wait, it came out the same year as The Mask?
Yeah, all 94.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on. No, wait. You are correct. Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber were all 94. Holy shit.
Man, he had a really good year then.
Yeah.
Well, I think they staggered the releases so they could hit so hard with him because the studio really wanted him to be the next guy. So.
Well, I remember Ace Ventura was definitely I think that's the one that really everybody kind of remembers. Even though The Mask at that time, I think, was that was the biggest one I think he did. Especially with kids, it had action figures. There was, my friend was the Mask for Halloween. It was horrifying looking.
Yeah.
And he was always saying smoking all the time. And I was like...
Even Urkel said it on Family Matters one time, and he does it really good too. Jaleel White can do a lot of really good impressions. But anyway... it was definitely a 3-step thing where I think each one took it another step forward. So by the time Dumb and Dumber came out, I'm like, all right, this guy's hilarious. I love him.
No, he was great. I already knew him as Fire Marshal Bill, I think it was, on In Living Color, which I didn't really understand in Living Color growing up because I was 8 years old.
I watched it as a kid, but I wasn't really allowed to. But my family loved In Living Color because that was at a time too where I feel like SNL was still trying to kind of struggle in a little bit, and there were these other
there's Mad TV.
Yeah,
I love Mad TV.
And Kids in the Hall was another one. There were a lot of these alternate sketch shows that were kind of taken over a bit, and he was definitely one of the best parts of In Living Color is hilarious. That show is really funny.
Especially all the Wayans Brothers skits.
Yeah,
and stuff,
but his parts were just different than anyone else. He was just over the top. The lifeguard sketch and everything, he was pretty amazing. I think that Jim Carrey, as a kid, I didn't think there was anyone funnier at the time. I kind of he kind of started that way of where comedians have this time where it's almost like they're the biggest thing. They're the highest paid guys. Like if you look at like Will Ferrell, Zach Galifianakis, they had these movies they came out with, and then they were in everything for a good couple of years, and then they just drop off. And all of a sudden they're not as popular anymore.
Jim Carrey's career is interesting because he started out as like an impression guy from Canada, and then he got into these roles and became.
He did a lot of stand-up before this.
Yeah,
like this, you know.
And then all his movies started getting really introspective. Like he went from that, like all this stuff, to Truman Show,
Eternal Sunshine,
to a Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
So Number 23.
If you want to go there,
and then, I don't really want to do that. Now he kind of went off the rails incredibly. But that's a different story, so it's kind of like, because you don't see him in much stuff nowadays.
Well, Sonic is coming out, and
I forgot he's fucking Dr. Robotnik.
I think he's going to be awesome.
I don't care about the Sonic part of it. I just want to see Jim Carrey again because I miss him.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be awesome in it. So far, the scenes that I've seen in the previews and stuff, it seems like almost like this movie should have come out in the 90s. This should like Sonic the Hedgehog should have been a movie that came out in 94.
I agree.
Not 2020.
Yeah, there was a time when I was sick of seeing Jim Carrey movies. Like I warmed up to him by the time Mask came, I was on board. And then Dumb and Dumber, then I just loved it.
It was the same year.
Wait, did I say year? Did I say?
No, you said it took you time to get warm up to him, but it was the same year.
That's what's crazy. Like then it went into a time period where I was like, okay, I'm getting sick of seeing this guy. Like by the time the Riddler movie, the Batman Forever came out, it was like, okay, look, he's still just doing the same shtick. He's still Jim Carrey. It's the same jokes. It's
I love him as the Riddler.
But okay, yeah, but then
that's also my favorite Batman movie.
Then he'd start doing these really unique, interesting movies like Truman Show and so on.
Right.
And then he kind of didn't do as much stuff for a while, and now I'm at the point where it's like, you know what, I just love this guy. I want to see him again, and that's why I'm excited for Sonic, because I just want to see Jim Carrey doing his thing again.
Yeah.
Comes out this month, so.
Comes out in like a week or whatever.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
I guess I'll just to wrap up my opinion of Ace Ventura now, after all this time's going by, is that I appreciate it. Now when I watch it today, I can see it as, well, that's what this movie is. It's just meant to be an actor taking it over the top and just hogging the whole scene. That's kind of what's funny about it, that he just bulldozes through every scene that he's in when everybody else is kind of playing it straight. He's just being this total asshole. And that is what, the only movie is so weird of a comparison, but Vampire's Kiss, where Nicolas Cage takes it so far.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that movie wouldn't be what it was without that type of performance. So now I appreciate what Jim Carrey is doing.
Do you think Jim Carrey was the best actor for the job?
For this particular movie?
Yeah, the role.
Could you imagine? I couldn't imagine anyone else.
It was supposed to be Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis, wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of Canadian guys up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so but it's just such a weird character to begin with, because it's like, it could almost be made into like a serious detective movie, but then you just throw this comedy tornado of Jim Carrey in the middle of it, and he's a detective, but he's the least conspicuous detective ever. He's wearing like Hawaiian shirts, and his hair is wild, and he's not even a pet detective. I mean, he is. He starts off like
he's really bad at it.
Yeah, but then he starts solving like a bigger case that.
Well, I mean, he does get that dog back in the beginning. He does that, and that was like.
Oh, I love that guy when he goes to the door when he's the UPS guy, and it's like the big boxer guys at the door.
Yeah,
that's a Randall Tex Cobb. He used to box.
Oh, okay.
My dad was friends with him when we lived in Arizona.
Oh, no way.
I think I got a pic of them together, but he was also the bad guy in Raising Arizona on the motorcycle.
That's right. Yeah. He was the bounty hunter.
Yeah, and he threw the grenade at the
I was wondering why. I when I saw him, I was like, I've seen this guy, but
he's
I can't think of it. Yeah. But I don't know. Honestly, I think Ace Ventura is surprisingly badass. He's
getting shot at. And he
gets shot at. He catches. He not only does he not care, he catches the bullet in his teeth like it's nothing. He drives his car like after almost getting beat up. He bites the dude's hand. Like he always gets the better, even of that one cop who is always giving him shit, and he kills the cockroach, and he like throws the guy to the floor, puts his face in. Like he's actually Ace Ventura is actually a pretty tough dude, even though he's a pet detective and it's Jim Carrey. He's actually surprisingly tough.
He really is. Like if you put like Clint Eastwood in the same movie and then just made it serious.
Oh my God! Well, the Deadpool, I guess.
Yeah, Deadpool. Yeah. One thing about his performance that we have to bring up is that I don't know a lot about Max Headroom, but basically he's like this computer-generated TV host, which I don't think he's actually computer-generated. He's like an actor with a mask
it's to do with
on.
like makeup kind of.
Yeah, but he's meant to be like a computer-generated host. And I've seen some clips on YouTube of Max Headroom, and the first thought in my mind is, holy shit, that's exactly what Jim Carrey's doing.
Right.
So the actor, Max Frewer, I believe his name is, it seems like Jim Carrey might have borrowed a lot of his stuff, maybe even subconsciously.
Yeah, he was the dad in the other dad in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with Rick Moranis, so I'm not sure if that's tied together or not.
And I'm not saying like specific lines or anything, it's just the way he talks.
His
and
delivery.
Like, yeah, and he has like a way, like Max Headroom kind of like jerks his head around a certain way, and it's like,
Honestly, I think that the thing probably is about it though is where that character, like his acting is only bound to Max Headroom, while Jim Carrey was able to take that acting and put it to multiple different characters.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about the plot is that it's so much about football, and you're like, why would a movie that's about a pet detective be about like a football game and not pets?
I guess because it had to be kind of about the Super Bowl and there's a lot more on the line and he kind of just stumbles into it. Because if it was about like, oh, he's saving an elephant from a circus or something, it's like, who gives a shit?
Also in the 90s, it was like one of the biggest movies, I feel like, subject was sports teams.
Yeah.
There was tons of sports team movies like Angels in the Outfield.
Mighty Ducks. Yeah.
Mighty Ducks, this. And using a sports team was probably just a way of also making the movie more of a wider appeal. But I don't know what it is, but this was actually the first thing that introduced me to the Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too, actually.
So it kind of got me.
I have some questions about that coming up.
Okay.
It also introduced me to like animal rights stuff a bit, because I was like 10 when this came out. So you remember the scene where there's like the concert where Cannibal Corpse is playing?
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse
where
was
they call
playing.
Cannibal Corpses, and they're playing Hammer Smash Face, because I remember that because I got beat up at one of those concerts in like the pit and shit. It was awesome. Anyway, they go like like he goes under it, and there's a guy with like a command center.
Yeah.
Much akin to like Kevin Smith in the Die Hard movie. Remember he's like in like a bunker or whatever, and he has like all the ships, and he sends the whaling ships off in different directions, and they talk about Greenpeace and all this kind of stuff in the movie, and
and the environment was huge in the 90s. I mean, everything was about like not polluting.
Save this, save that.
Save it. As it is now, it still is people are very conscious of the environment, but I think that's because of the 90s. When I was a kid, I mean, Nickelodeon was drilling it in your head and everything. I think that's why people are a lot more conscious than they were back in the 80s and 90s.
And the arcade machines were saying, don't litter, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Give us quarters.
Yeah.
But about the plot, which I honestly would have cared more about if it was about like rescuing some dog than it is about football. But it starts like where he's got to rescue the football team's mascot, which is a dolphin. Yeah. And I don't even remember what happens with the dolphin. All I remember is then it turns into this football player who got pissed off at another player for holding the ball the wrong way or something.
Laces out. Yeah.
Laces out, Dan.
Yeah, something. So then he like goes into this big like hate mode. Like he goes, I guess he disappears or whatever, and then he like has this bedroom, which is this shrine of just hate stuff.
I love his Ray Finkel's house in this movie, who turns out to be the bad guy. His house, the room, like you're thinking like, is this a comedy or a horror? I guess. At that point, because it's like
it's the most horrific scene in the movie. I remember when I saw it as a kid, I was like,
it freaked
what the hell?
Me out too.
Yeah, because you have Jim Carrey kind of like making these goofy faces, but then there's all this like this kill stuff on the wall, and like something about the music.
Even the house outside is creepy looking. It's all boarded up. It's just in the middle of nothing, pretty much.
Yeah, he kind of did that in the second movie where he walks into the guy's the poacher guy's collection of dead animals, and he goes like, oh, what a lovely room of death, and just leaves.
Like almost like he's still being kind of funny, but the scene itself is so creepy that it kind of like it overpower. Like it doesn't neutralize the humor and the terror. It actually just the terror overpowers the comedy and makes the comedy just feel even weirder and just strange.
And I definitely like the mom in that, Ray Finkel's mom, because she's the librarian from Ghostbusters who gets scared at the beginning.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Would you like a cookie, son?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was up with all that. And at this point, I don't even remember what happens with the dolphin, if it's even like what it has to do.
What happens is, so I guess the plot, what really happens is Ray Finkel misses a field goal, and everyone blames him for it, but he blames Dan Marino, the quarterback of the Dolphins, for holding the ball the wrong way, so he messed up the kick. Because if it was held the other way, the kick would have went the right direction or whatever. Because it bounced off wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I got that part.
So he went on like a 20-year plan of attack where he realized a hiker died who was like a police person, and he became that woman. And
which we're getting to eventually.
And then planned this whole thing of revenge to where he was going to then steal the dolphin, so the team like is sad because they're superstitious or something.
And that's pretty much what I've heard that. Though.
And they lose the Super Bowl. It doesn't make any sense.
And also kidnap Dan Marino, who's the star quarterback and everything too.
Well, I think they did that because I think they pushed him to do that because.
Okay, well, I guess I might as well ask the question now because we're getting into it. Like, okay, okay. First of all, this is a real football team.
Yeah,
Miami Dolphins.
And the player that they're talking about, this Dan Marino guy,
he was the quarterback.
He's real player. He's a player in the Dolphins too.
Is he playing himself in this movie?
Yes.
Oh, are you guys talking about my good friend Dan Marino? You know, when I was a kid, I actually won a contest to take a picture with him. And then years later, when my cousin graduated from the University of Pittsburgh, he was graduating at the same time, and I got to see him get his doctorate. That Dan Marino. Hell of a guy.
That's wild. Like, it's just that he went along with this joke about how he fucked over this other player.
What's it called, too? When she says the line about Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea, I was wondering if he heard that and thought that was like the funniest thing he'd ever heard.
Yeah, because I'm just like, okay.
Because they had to write that and then show him the script, you know?
Exactly.
So he's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, because that's the first, the one thought in my head, I'm like, wait, is this a real guy? Because is he cool with this?
I guess so.
Yeah, he must have been.
I mean, that made
that's
me knew
funny.
Who the fuck he was.
Yeah, me too.
But now the other guy, the Ray Finkel guy, who
Ray Finkel's not real.
Made up. Okay.
Ray Finkel, which I actually thought when I was a kid, because I knew I had a friend who was into the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. So when I saw this, I'd kind of heard of Dan Marino because he was big in the '90s. He wasn't but this was the first time I was kind of seeing him in the thing. Mm-hmm. So when I realized Dan Marino's real and the Miami Dolphins were real, I thought the whole Ray Finkel thing was a real story. I didn't realize it was
Stinkle.
Yeah, Ray Stinkle.
Yeah, I actually looked into what games they use because when I worked at NFL Films as an editor for a while, and we had to pull things for when they're doing a documentary on Ace Ventura or whatever, and they show clips, and I was pulling clips for games that this stuff was actually from, and it was all different stuff. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think the Dolphins Eagles went to the Super Bowl that year. I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Yeah,
especially the Eagles at that time. So
hey, come on,
yeah,
they did win the Super Bowl. Yeah, they beat the Patriots, dude.
She's the lieutenant? She's the head of the department. She's not investigating. She's in the boss.
She's the chief, pretty much.
Okay.
Your gun is digging into my hip.
What's wrong, Ace? Want me to read you your rights?
The person in charge of it was a guy that he put his head against the floor, which is the sergeant, the big guy.
Okay.
Aiello or whatever.
But
the bus driver from Speed who blows up in the beginning of the movie.
Right, yeah.
Yes, I don't know. I mean, this plot isn't even worth going through anymore. I was just trying to connect the dots to get to, okay, so Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn.
Yeah.
So basically he, I guess, either had a sex change or he is just basically doing a really good disguise. What is the... I wasn't sure.
It's kind of rough to have conversations about it in 2020.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it is what it is.
Well, what happens is I guess back then, they said that he had boobs done when he starts tearing all her clothes off at the end and stuff like that. But I guess he didn't have the bottom surgery, I guess. So.
Yeah.
I guess, but what's funny is that I watched this on cable on demand, and they actually cut out parts of the movie.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Now, because I remember the first time seeing it, I swore he turns her around, or him, it's supposed to be Ray Finkel,
right.
Turns him around, and there's a bulge in the back of the underwear.
Yeah.
That I did not see that in this version because they must have cut it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh,
because
I saw
it was on
yeah.
how on TV you can go into your on demand and then sometimes it's
a TV edit.
Yeah.
No, because they definitely show, because the worst case of hemorrhoids I've ever seen, and he, tucked
Yeah, and the
his-
thing is, too, when I saw this as a kid, I didn't know what the fuck I was
Me
looking
neither.
at. I didn't
Yeah.
get it at all.
Yeah, because then like all the other characters are like reacting to it, and they're like,
they're vomiting, and I'm like,
Because they all made out
Yeah.
with...
oh, that's
you
rough.
know.
yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, I
It's rough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's the whole scene where he's vomiting, and
And
it's
has
like,
a plunger against his mouth.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's
he
like I think
made
he's,
out with a dude. That's I don't know.
And
Yeah,
it doesn't age well, I suppose.
It makes
The movie
it's like-
itself is fucking funny, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's acting is still really funny in it.
get-
I mean, there's also, too, a scene where he acts like a crazy person going to an asylum. And but like, and that's even something right there that, nowadays you can't do that either. But the scene
Like,
is so funny
know.
when he does
I mean-
the instant replay and he's just like,
Yeah,
he's making all his noises.
They crack on the
Like-
sex change thing. They crack on mental health stuff and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But as a
like basically, yeah, like a lot of the jokes are not like it's not the best choice of the joke. Like when they did it, I don't think they had bad intentions. It was just to make
It's just
you
in
laugh.
bad taste.
But
That's the
it was
thing,
in bad
jokes are-
taste. but,
I mean,
yeah.
he's talking to Tone Loc with his ass cheeks.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
It's meant to be vulgar.
I
That's the whole
do
thing, you know?
love Tone Loc.
Yeah, Tone Loc in it is. I like also at the end when the credits hit and he's like, Tone, strap on those size 13 shoes and kick it for the homies. And it's Ace Ventura saying it. That part gets me every time for some reason.
Yeah, I love Tone Loc. I saw him in concert a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to go to that.
And he did all of Coolio's songs, and Coolio did all of his songs. And I was like, and no one in the audience seemed to realize this, and I was like, shit.
Well, my favorite part of Ace Ventura is where he like does that football catch in slow motion, where he's like miming like a catch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he does a rewind.
Yeah, like
The rewind is the part that kills me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like the way he's sitting in the chair and he's like, blip, blip, and he's like
Yeah.
doing the dialogue backwards.
Yeah, like backwards acting is like a really good talent. Like it's actually a very specific thing. There's a stand-up guy who's like a musician in stand-up comedy, Reggie Watts. He's really good at doing like reverse stuff and like kind of like skipping his voice and like doing things in that type of way. Or like one time he's like doing a conversation or he's saying something, he's like, oh, this is really long, I'm just gonna like fast forward to it, and then he just starts going into like really fast speed and like he's just talking and like he's doing like these really funny movements. But anyway, back to Ace Ventura. Yeah, like that scene sticks out in my head as being really funny. There was also the door thing where he opens up the door and
He's
shuts
like,
it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like they're trying to solve the crime, and Einhorn's like, "You don't know what you're talking about. Get the hell out of here." And he's like, "Well, I kind of solved this thing here." The guy who, the one guy from the beginning of the movie, he like commits suicide, but you find out that it wasn't a suicide. That
Rob
Einhorn
something,
threw him
I
out
forget his
because they were fooling around, and he found out he was a guy, and so Einhorn threw him out the side or
Fell off
whatever.
the- yeah.
Or he was there to or Finkel was there to kill him anyway. But so he's doing the glass thing, saying like, oh, you couldn't have heard a scream if he keeps slamming the door open and stuff. But I mean, there's also a lot of really good side actors in this, like Courteney Cox is good in this.
Yeah, man, let me tell you, Courteney Cox in the 90s.
Also, spell Courteney for me in Courteney Cox.
Courtney.
It's Teney.
Oh, like Courteney.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Weird,
Because I was looking it up and I spelled it wrong, and I'm like, no, I didn't.
Huh.
I'm like, oh, she spelled her name wrong.
Yeah.
I guess, but
Weird.
yeah, she's in this, and then Sean Young from Blade Runner, who plays Rachel,
Which honestly, like, I'm gonna just say
is
like
Einhorn.
Sean Young in this movie is really like, I think almost she's overacting worse than Jim Carrey.
Kind of the point.
Oh, really?
She's a little over the top to the point where like everyone else is, Ace Ventura,
it's tough.
everyone else is whatever, but she is just, the way she delivers lines sometimes is kind of weird.
But you're kind of watching it now, knowing that Einhorn is Finkel. When you saw it for the first time.
No, the reveal is actually well done, the way everything falls into place. I just mean the way her lines are, where she's always angry, and she just doesn't deliver lines believably, I don't think.
She is fucking angry because she missed out on being in Batman 89, and then she missed out, and then she tried being in Batman Returns and showed up broke into the studio dressed as Catwoman to force her way onto the movie.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a fucking problem, but... And then she did this.
Man, can you imagine being there at that time?
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Another thing, actually, speaking of side actors, his landlord is Hector Salamanca from
Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
from Breaking Bad.
That's right.
When I saw it, I immediately noticed it. It was like,
I've been seeing him in more movies now lately.
Yeah.
I think like after, because a lot of times that happens where you'll see a movie or a show or something, and then you go back and watch other things and that you've seen before, but now you know who they are.
Yeah.
Like I now see Dean Norris in a lot of things too.
Starship Troopers. He was on that.
That's right. Yeah. He was like
he's the Marine Commandant.
Yeah, the one without. I think he had a missing limb or something.
No, that was the guy sitting who signs him up. He was the guy who's like, "You get 10 lashes, son.
Oh,
Take him like a man." It was like that guy.
No, too. Like a lot of TV. I mean, what's it called? I'm into. As everyone who talks to me knows, I'm really into the show 24. And
I still gotta check it out.
Yeah, a lot of people who are big, like John Boyega is in 24 on the final season.
The one that really cracked me up in this, and it's so quick you wouldn't even really think about it. When he walks into Udo Kreider's like the billionaire's house or whatever, he passes the orchestra playing music, and he just pulls the arm of the violinist, which just messes the song up. But they keep going. I was like, that's so fucking.
Well, I wonder
funny.
if that was even in the script or that was just something that Jim Carrey did, because all of those scenes seem like it was just him interacting with people the way he would expect, Ace Ventura to do it. The way he gets in the butler's face, where he's just like he barks at him, kind of, and it's like so weird. But it's and I can't imagine like if I was one of those actors and I had to keep a straight face and just stay stone faced the entire time.
Yeah.
Either that or maybe all of them hated him. Like maybe they were like, "God damn, this guy coming in here, we got to deal with fucking Jim Carrey all the time."
I thought of one more funny scene, just was when he beats up the mascot at the end.
Oh, the eagle.
Because when
what's your problem, buddy?
Yeah, like he's like hitting him on the ground, like in a costume, and then he's like up on like the big screen. He's like still making his goofy faces,
and everyone's clapping because he's like they're also at the fucking what do you call it? The Miami, like their stadium for their Super Bowl, and he's beating up the Eagles mascot. They're all excited about it.
It's over like a pigeon that he was trying to catch, or like some kind of. Yeah, some kind of bird,
albino pigeon that they
pigeon.
mention like throughout and in the beginning, and then it's kind of a little.
It's also a plot point in the cartoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's the cartoon, there's the sequel, and then there's 2 or 3 PC games, which are interesting because one's all 3D animated, and it looks like what's it called? Like the Money for Nothing music video.
Oh God, yeah. When he goes and splashes it water. He's like halftime, and he splashes his face with water, and then he kneels down to that bench and just headbutts it really hard.
Yeah,
that part like kills me whenever I see it. I don't know why, but that and also probably the fight at the end is just goofy, where he's just they say like, oh, if it's one thing I know about Ace, he can keep his cool or whatever, and he's crying, and he's like, you don't even care about me, kill Dan Marino, and he's like, no, kill him, and they're both like, the only thing that's weird about that scene, Einhorn calls all the cops in there, says Ace Ventura kidnapped Dan Marino and all that kind of stuff, and the whole police force shows up, and not at any point does Dan Marino go, hey, police, Ace Ventura didn't kidnap me, she did. Get her. He lets the whole police force point their guns at Ace Ventura like they could blow him away at any second, where the police are just going to riddle him with bullets.
Well, he can catch bullets with his teeth. So.
Yeah, that's true, but he'd have to catch a lot of bullets.
Yeah, but we know a couple things about Dan Marino. He fucked up that kick holding the ball. Yeah. And he should die of gonorrhea and fucking rot in hell.
But it's like he was held hostage by her, like... Why wouldn't he say, hey, Einhorn is holding me hostage, you got it all wrong, police? He just lets the police come in.
Tweet at Dan Marino. What's he doing?
Yeah, what's your problem, man? You almost got Ace Ventura killed. He was trying to help him.
You got any final thoughts?
No, I don't. Also, I do have a final thought. Coming back with another Jim Carrey review next Friday, but if you want to watch something else in the meantime, we already did a review of Dumb and Dumber last year, so go check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why are you wearing a shirt with Kieran on it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, a fan gave me the shirt of Mark Borchardt, and he actually, it seems like he drew it in marker.
That's
like
cool.
the whole thing is drawn on the shirt.
I'm just joking. It definitely looks like Mark Borchardt.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Wait, when are we going to review Coven?
Oh,
Coven,
yeah. Apparently he's doing Coven 2 now.
No way.
Yeah.
We got to get him on the show.
We do, yeah.